One of the things that you need to do on a driver's test is if you turn left on a multi-lane road, you need to move back over to the right. The driving examiner is not going to tell you to do that. So that's one of the secrets that you need to know to pass your driver's test and be successful. There are some other. All right, so the first thing you got to do is get a knowledge test. In some places, it can be anywhere from 180 days to a full year that you're going to be on your learner's test. Now, I know the reality is that for most people taking their learners to go on and practice their driving, they're not going to start actually getting in the vehicle and driving until a few weeks before their test. But knowledge test, signs, signals, and road markings, terminology, complex intersections, painted islands, slip lanes, those types of things, right of way, and the driving task. The driving task is essentially light, weather, the driver, the vehicle, the roadway, and traffic. And these are the questions that they're going to ask you. So you want to pass your knowledge test as well. When you show up, you're going to have to pay a fee for that, take the knowledge test. All of them are going to be computer based in this day and age. And you're going to have to do an eye exam as well. All road tests have 4 components: speed management, space management, observation, and communication. Space management is the most important. If you're not near anything, it's less likely that you're going to hit something. So space, you have to stop at the correct position at stop sign and controlled intersections, behind the stop line, behind the crosswalk line, behind the crosswalk, or if those 2 conditions don't exist, then at the edge of the intersection just before entering it. Following distance 2 to 3 seconds for the duration of your test, and you cannot enter an intersection that you cannot clear. If you go into an intersection, you get stuck there because traffic is backed up through the intersection, the traffic light turns red, you will fail your driver's test. Speed management, posted speed limit or the flow of traffic, whichever is less. After that, observation. You need to have a forward scanning pattern, which includes far down the road, instrument panel, center mirror, far down the road, check your wing mirrors, and then far down the road. Your observation, your forward scanning pattern is tied into speed management. If your speed management is up and down for a long period of time, the driving examiner knows that you are not observing correctly because you're not controlling your speed and looking at your instrument panel every 10 to 12 seconds. Communication, the way that we communicate is through lights and signals, position of the vehicle on the roadway, horn, use it sparingly. If you don't know what another road user is doing, get eye contact and use hand signals. And most important and most difficult for new drivers is to focus on what you're doing. Even drivers with a little bit of experience, this is their biggest challenge, is focusing on what he or she is doing, because driving is a social activity and it is so easy to get distracted by drivers that are honking, drivers that are giving you the finger, drivers that are following you too close. All of these are part and parcel of social driving, and this is what you're going to be entering into when you learn how to drive. So focus on slow speed maneuvers. Get mastery of the vehicle, the primary controls, the steering wheel, the accelerator, and the brake. Learn faster by doing these. If you can master parallel parking, 3-point turn, backing into a parking space, 2-point reverse turn, and U-turn, this is going to improve your overall driving. So it is 20% in, 80% out. I cannot stress that enough. If you want to do the least amount of work to learn how to drive, get in the parking lot and do the slow speed maneuvers. The return on investment, I just cannot stress how important this is. Requirements of a road test: holding the vehicle in the lane, observation and shoulder checking, responding to changing conditions of the roadway. And sometimes it's going to be fairly easy. Everything is going to be easy peasy and predictable. Other times things are going to happen. For example, emergency vehicles are going to happen every now and again. If you're taking your test in a large metropolitan city such as Chicago or Los Angeles or Dallas, Texas, emergency vehicles are going to be part and parcel of your learning every day. If you're taking it in a smaller town, if you're taking it in Duluth, Minnesota, for example, there's probably going to be an emergency vehicle maybe once a day. You may or may not be unlucky enough to encounter that emergency vehicle, but you have to know that you have to pull over to the closest shoulder as quick as possible and stop the vehicle in a safe manner. If you're at an intersection, it might be best to just stay stopped and let the emergency vehicle make its way around you. Abilities for a road test: 2 hands on the steering wheel for the duration of the test. Stopping in a line of traffic approximately 1 vehicle length from the vehicle in front of you. And the landmark for that is you're able to see the tires of the vehicle in front making clear contact with the roadway. Stopping at correct positions, I already talked about this. Stop line, before the sidewalk, and at the edge where the 2 roads meet. Those are the 3 different conditions for your driver's test. You have to be able to deal with yellow traffic lights, figure out whether you need to stop or whether you can proceed through. Controlled and uncontrolled intersections, and then right of way. Slow speed maneuvers, revisiting the fundamentals. I do suggest that after you've been driving for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, go back and start working on these slow speed maneuvers again, and this will hone your driving in preparation for the driver's test. You can take driver's lessons, and I do suggest that if you are not taking driving lessons with a driving instructor, that you do at least take 1 driving lesson with a driving instructor, and that includes doing a mock road test, because driving instructors teach students how to pass a driver's test every day. You can take a whole class, which is 10 lessons usually. You can take individual lessons, or you can just take 1 mock road test, which is basically they're going to take you out, they're going to assess your ability to be ready for the driver's test. They will take you on the test route. So know that. They're not going to tell you that they're on the test route, but they will take you on the test route and assess your abilities. The other great thing about working with a driving instructor for 1 lesson is he or she is going to give you feedback on those skills that you may or may not need to hone and improve for the purposes of passing your driving test. One of the things that students don't do is practice. They don't get enough practice. And there are so many reasons why students don't. It's not easy. You're in the vehicle with your parents most of the time. It might be friends, families, other, extended family and whatnot. But it's tough because, students have to practice driving the speed limit, which is incredibly agonizing for those that are used to just driving and keeping up with traffic flow and whatnot. But take every opportunity that you can when you're on your learner's permit to get as much practice as possible. Ariel here in the picture, her dad took her out on logging roads and up to camps and let her drive the vehicle and whatnot. So she had a great deal of experience before she came to me with driving lessons. So basically, when I taught Ariel, the only thing that I had to teach her was the skills and abilities that she needed specifically for the driver's test. She could already drive the vehicle and drive the vehicle quite well. She had mastery of the steering wheel, the accelerator, and the brake because she had done a lot of practice with her dad prior to coming to me. Practice in different vehicles, practice in different environments if you can get that kind of practice. On the day of your driver's test, sometimes bad drivers pass the driver's test because absolutely everything goes swimmingly on the day of the test, and sometimes good drivers who should pass and are completely and utterly ready for the driver's test don't pass. This is just a reality. Something happens in the driving environment, somebody pulls out in front of them, somebody cuts them off, and they don't have enough experience to deal with the situation. And there's a video here, unexpected events on a driver's test. Corey will put that up for you and have a look at that as well. And sometimes this stuff just happens. There's a big truck parked on the side of the road and you haven't had the experience where you've had to move out into the other lane. You don't signal and observe correctly when you move around the other vehicle, and unfortunately you have a dangerous action and you're not successful on your driver's test. So know that if you do fail your driver's test the first time, yes, it's upsetting. Yes, get angry, take a day, be mad about the whole thing, but get back in the car, start driving again, okay? Elevator swimmingly means everything went well, okay? Nothing went wrong. It was completely predictable. Nothing went wrong for the purposes of your test. Practice driver's test, 3 weeks out. I already talked about taking a mock driver's test if you're not already taking driver training, because it's harder to rebuild your confidence if you fail the driver's test. Just work, do the work, do what you need to do to pass first time, because as Edna says, Luck favors the prepared. I cannot stress this enough, okay? Learn the basics, practice the basics, focus on the basics of driving, and prepare for the opportunity. Take every opportunity you can to drive, because the consequences are dire, as someone mentioned in the comments here, that somebody struck somebody in a wheelchair and they were killed. So that happens, okay? Road test day, the night before, get a good night's sleep. Bring your documentation, bring your glasses if you need prescription glasses for the purposes of driving, and it is an endorsement on your driver's license. As well, bring money, bring your license. If you need sunglasses to drive, I know that there is a myth out there that lots of driving instructors will say, oh, you can't wear sunglasses for the purposes of a driver's test. That, I'm going to tell you, is bupkis. It is not true. Not true at all. If you need sunglasses because your eyes are photosensitive, then wear sunglasses. If you're just moving your eyes, and this is the reasoning behind this, is that driving instructors can't see your eyes moving. Well, you need to move your whole head to be able to drive a vehicle well. You can't just observe by moving the eyes in your head. Your eyes don't move enough. You need to move your head. When you show up at the test center, back into the parking space unless signs prohibit it, and keep going on the driver's test until the examiner tells you to stop. You may make a mistake, the examiner may not even see the mistake, and you may be perseverating on it, which means that you're just fretting about it and you're like, oh my God, I made a mistake, I failed my driver's test. And the reality is like I said, the driving examiner may not even have seen the error. So just keep going on your driver's test until you're told to stop. Your job for the purposes of the driver's test is take away the examiner's right to fail you. Nothing less, nothing more. That's all you need to do. Good luck on your driver's test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. When you pass the car, normally how fast can you go? David, when you're passing other cars, for the purposes of your driver's license test, if you're actually going for your driver's license test, you cannot speed. You cannot exceed the speed limit for the purposes of your driver's test. Now, I have a problem with that because there are the line that ICBC has is that if you are passing another vehicle, you can't exceed the posted speed limit. Now, for the purpose of your driver's license, yes, keep that in mind that you cannot exceed the posted speed limit when you're passing. However, after you get your driver's license and you're passing on a 2-lane road, do exceed the speed limit because you want to reduce the amount of time, especially if you're on a 2-lane road with opposing lanes of traffic and you need to get out in the other lane to pass the car in front of you. If you're going to pass the lane in front of you, then get the vehicle going and expedite the passing because you want to reduce the amount of time that you're in the lane with the oncoming traffic. You can't keep this posted speed limit because you're going to be out there far too long to pass that other vehicle. Now, legally, you can't exceed the posted speed limit. But safety-wise, defensive driving, smarter, you need to reduce the amount of time that you're in the lane of the oncoming traffic to keep yourself and others on the roadway safe. So know that for the purposes of driving, that it's two different arenas when you get your license and when you're preparing for your road test. Random, I passed first time with 1 point to spare. Awesome, Random, that's great. You know, take the pass because you can work on perfection for the rest of your life. And this is another point about taking your driver's license test. It's not about perfection. It's not about perfection. It's about passing the test and getting your license because you can work on your driving for the rest of your driving career. So just get your license. And if you pass by 1 point, awesome. Absolutely awesome. Congratulations. What did you do to go and celebrate, my friend? 1991, I watched some of your videos before passing my test a month ago. Thanks for the helpful info in Hamilton, Ontario. And that is awesome. 1991, congratulations on passing your test there in Hamilton. Rizva, how can you tell that your car is behind the stop line in your car? Okay, so Rizvi, Corey will put up the videos for you on how to approach stop signs. But essentially, when you roll up to the intersection and you're going nice and slow, just as the stop line rolls under the front of the car, that's when you bring the car to a stop, just as it rolls out of sight. If you actually stop the vehicle and get out and look, you will notice that you're actually 3 feet behind the stop line. If you stop back so you can actually see the stop line, you're too far back from the intersection. So you just roll up. As soon as the stop line rolls under the front of the car, that's when you bring it to a stop at an intersection. Houstonian, I passed my driver's test, got my license a week ago, and that is awesome. Congratulations, my friend. Awesome, awesome. Rocky, do you remember me talking about an engine fan in a live stream a year ago? And then you suddenly told me I couldn't turn it off anyway. Do you remember that? I remember something about it, Rocky. Yeah, so what's going on with your engine fan? Elevator, yellow and red lights mean exactly the same time on a driver's test unless you are too close to stop safely. Yes, and many people, elevator, believe mistakenly that a yellow light means proceed with caution. A yellow light does not mean proceed with caution. A yellow light means stop if you can do so safely. If somebody's going to park in your trunk, then you can't stop safely. So you have to proceed through the intersection. But again, yellow lights are one of those unexpected events on a driver's test that is going to take a little bit of practice. So the more experience you get driving and encountering yellow lights, the better you're going to deal with that situation when you're driving. Atharv. Sorry, I mispronounced that. How do I deal with blind zones? You shoulder check, a lot of shoulder checking for the purposes of your driver's test. And that'll help you to look into the blind areas around your vehicle and to drive safely. Manager, I am a new driver and always have problems with lane change and heavy traffic. I get anxious when other cars don't give enough space and suddenly I keep missing turns and destinations. Any suggestions? Yes, I would suggest that you start practicing your lane changes when it's not as busy, and that way it's going to give you confidence to be able to do that safely when you get into congested areas, and that way you're not going to miss your turns and those types of things. Also, keep in mind that you need at minimum 3 signals on your blinker, and then that way gives other vehicles opportunities to help you out. If you're less than 3 signals, and remember, you got to communicate first. So mirror signal, shoulder check, look forward, signal, 1 signal, 2 signals, 3 signals, and then look again, check and make sure there's a space. Because unless you ask other people via your signal, they're not going to help you out and create space for you to move over and to change lanes. And I've seen this so many times with truck drivers, because that's what I did for most of my driving instruction career, was teach truck drivers how to drive. And they'd say, oh, nobody will let me in, nobody will let me in. And then I would say, well, put your signal on. And as soon as they put their signal on, then other traffic would move over and let them move in. So that's what you need to do. You need to communicate effectively. If that doesn't work, if the signal doesn't work and people are still not helping you out and creating a space for you to change lanes and move over, then crowd the left side of the lane. Don't move out of your lane, just left side. Crowd that left lane with your signal on, and I guarantee you that eventually people will help you out and people will move out of the way for you to be able to change lanes. Forum, like your work. Thank you so much. Bishop, tomorrow going for my driver's test. Good luck on your driver's test there tomorrow. Remember to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. That'll cause your body to relax, and then you'll be able to do what you need to do for the purposes of passing your driver's test. And as well, keep in mind that the first 5 minutes of the driver's test are critical. Signal out of the parking lot, appropriate speed in the parking lot. Look where you need to go. Lots of observation, shoulder checking, and those types of things for the purposes of getting going on your driver's test and keeping yourself safe. And don't engage in conversation with the driving examiner for the first little bit. And I would also suggest that you not engage in conversation unless the driving examiner, unless he or she engages in conversation. If they do, then that's fine. Otherwise, just focus on what you're doing and pass your driver's test. Focus on being successful on passing your driver's test. And know as well, you want to show up to the test center 20 or 30 minutes before your driver's test. You want to go in, you want to check in. Some places, some bigger metropolitan places may not have an office where you go in and check in. New York, for example, when I was with Sam, Big Mac Sam there in the Bronx, and we went out and did a mock driver's test. You just drive up to the curb and the driving examiner comes out and gets in your vehicle. Know that for the purposes of your driver's test. But most places are going to have an office. You go in and check in, and you come back out, you know, walk around, focus on your breathing. Know that when the driving examiner comes out, they're going to do their little mini pre-trip inspection, and then they're going to get in the vehicle and go for a drive. So make sure that you do a pre-trip inspection on your vehicle before you show up for your driver's license test. I cannot stress that enough. Rocky, as I explained to you before, engine fans were very loud on me and they hurt my ears. Okay, so Rocky, I'm still, but I remember telling you what I was going for. Trucks and buses with engine fans just passed and they scared me. I still don't enjoy engine fans. Oh, okay. I think I remember this conversation now, Rocky. It wasn't the engine fan when you're walking by trucks and buses. Are you talking about the burst of air where it goes as you're walking past it, and it has that expulsion of air that scares you as you're walking by the vehicle? That's not an engine fan. That's actually the air dryer on the air brake system. And if it's doing that, then that's what it is. Bishop, you're from Poco, BC. I'm not sure where that is. I'll have to have a look. Wesley, have you heard about Alberta removing the advanced road test? Wesley, that wouldn't surprise me. I haven't heard about that yet, but send me an email, rick@smartdrivetest, and I'll have a look at that. I'll look that up and see if that is actually true for them, if they're doing that. Dan, just got my G2 license first try with a biopic lens. Law recently changed in Ontario. Waterloo School of Optometry administered extensive eye testing, driver's ed course 2, safety first. And that is awesome that you were able to pass your driver's test with vision impairment and you got the right lenses and they helped you out there. That is really, really awesome, my friend. Congratulations. Congratulations. Awesome. Rory, I passed today after 5 attempts with 0 errors today. I'm a genuine disbelief. I honestly thought I would never pass. Thank you, Rick, for your accessible and informative videos. Rory, you are most welcome, my friend. Congratulations on passing and your tenacity on keeping going for your driver's test. Really, really great news, my friend, there. And what did you do to go and celebrate, my friend? Bishop, what are the parking lights? Where can I find them? So the parking lights, when you turn the lights on the car, there's 2 settings. So one will turn the parking lights on, and parking lights are basically the clearance lights on the front next to the headlights, along the side of the vehicle, and on the back of the vehicle, the taillights will activate. So those are your parking lights. And then if you turn it to the next setting, the full on, then it will activate the headlights on the vehicle. But the parking lights are the intermittent setting. You're not going to use the parking lights probably ever. Most modern vehicles are going to have a headlight setting that's auto, and you're just going to turn it on auto and the lights will come on automatically when it gets dark outside. So most newer vehicles, you're not even going to have to worry about it in terms of driving. All right, just checking to see if there's some more comments here. Excellent. Seems like I'm all caught up here. So, as I was saying in the presentation, I touched on this in the presentation. I'll give you a bit more detail in terms of the 4 components of any driver's test. Now, when you start driving, as I said, driving is a social activity and you are entering into the arena of social driving. So what are the problems with social driving? Because if you do what other people are doing on the roadway when you go out and drive in traffic, you're not going to be successful on your driver's test. You have to follow the posted speed limit. You have to stay within your lane. You have to turn left according to the rules and mandates of safe driving. There are 2 schools of thinking in terms of turning left. One is you move into the intersection and wait. I don't agree with that. I have my students and teach people to stay back at the edge of the intersection, not behind the stop line, but at the edge of the intersection, and then they move forward to meet the gap. And when you see the gap coming, because on a left-hand turn, you're going to need 6 to 10 seconds to get the vehicle around on the left-hand turn on a multi-lane road. So when the gap is coming, You're going to drive straight forward into the intersection. You're going to meet that gap. So when the gap is behind the car that's coming towards you, when the car passes over the stop line on the other side of the intersection, that's when you start driving straight forward into the intersection. When the car passes you, that's when you make your turn. The reason for that I do it that way is because you get a bit of speed when you're entering the intersection, and you actually reduce the amount of time that you're in the intersection. And it's the same way that you make a left-hand turn on a yellow traffic light, and sometimes you're going to have to do that. This is one of the other unexpected events that you're going to have to practice for the purposes of passing your driver's test. Now, social driving, people speed, so you can't keep up with traffic flow, you can't do what other traffic is doing, you can't drive over painted islands for the purposes of your driver's test. Obviously no distractions, you can't bring your pet, leave the cat at home, and nobody else can be in the car with you with the driving examiner. Now there are places in Europe that they allow the driving instructor to be in the back of the vehicle. However, in North America, you can't bring anybody else in the vehicle. It's just you and the driving examiner. You can't have any recording devices in the vehicle. So all of this is social driving. Your tools to drive and practice and pass your driver's test: space management. As I said, stop at the correct stopping position at controlled intersections, before the stop line, before the crosswalk line, or before the sidewalk, depending on the configuration of the intersection. Most new drivers are going to have trouble with two-way stop sign intersections. And you're going to know it's a two-way stop sign intersection because there won't be a little rectangle underneath that says it's a four-way or a three-way or an all-way stop sign. So two-way stop sign intersections, you have to stop at the correct stopping position. At most two-way stop sign intersections, you can't see the cross traffic. So when you can't see the cross traffic after stopping at the correct stopping position, then you creep forward until you can see, find a gap in the cross traffic. When it's clear, then you can go. Many new drivers who are learning to drive make the mistake that they come up and they stop at the correct stopping position, and then they simply drive through the intersection, which is a bit scary for people on the cross traffic, because all of a sudden there's a car going through the intersection. So know that you have to practice and know the difference between two-way stop sign intersections and four-way stop sign intersections. So if you are practicing for your driver's test, take note of that and say, when you're moving through these intersections, it's a two-way stop sign intersection, it's a four-way stop sign intersection. So you know that for the purposes of passing your driver's test. 2 to 3 second following distance. As I said, if you're not near anything, it's less likely that you're going to hit something, and you can't enter an intersection that you can't clear. So in other words, if traffic is backed up, you have to stay on this side of the intersection until the traffic clears out, and then you proceed for the purposes of your driver's test. Speed management, the flow of traffic or the posted speed limit, whichever is less, and don't dawdle. If you are too cautious on your driver's test, that is as bad as being too aggressive, and you will fail your driver's test for dawdling. If you are 5 miles an hour below the posted speed limit for the duration of your driver's test, you will not be successful. So get around corners, get it up to speed as quickly as possible. Now, and kind of know what the posted speed limit is in and around the test center where you're going to be taking your test. For example, if you're in the state of New York, it's going to be 25 miles an hour. If you're in other places, it's going to be 30 miles an hour because you may not see a speed sign. So know what it is, so that way you can get your speed correct for the purposes of your driver's test. And as I said in the presentation, your speed management is tied directly into your observation and your forward scanning pattern. You should be having your forward scanning pattern should be changing every 10 to 12 seconds and repeating that and taking in your instrument panel. So you can go above this posted speed limit a little bit or a little bit below it, but if you're not adjusting your speed every 8 to 12 seconds, that's telling the driving examiner that you are not observing correctly for the purposes of your driver's test. Observation, forward scanning pattern, which includes far down the road, center mirror, far down the road, instrument panel, far down the road, one wing mirror, far down the road, and then your other wing mirror. And repeating that every 10 to 12 seconds. Reversing. You must look out the back window for the purposes of your driver's test. You can look at a mirror, your wing mirrors rather. You can look at a backup camera, but Your primary line of sight is out through the back window for the duration of your backing. Turns and changing lanes, shoulder check, 2 shoulder checks per lane change, 2 shoulder checks for turns. So approximately half a block before the turn, and then immediately before the turn, you're going to shoulder check again. Scan the intersection well. You may have to shoulder check again if you sat at the intersection for a period of time. Just shoulder check again before you go around. Now, red lights on a driver's test, unless signs prohibit it, you can turn right on a red light. If you're stopped at the correct stopping position, give way to all other traffic and then move up, creep up. The way is clear, you can proceed. Now, if it is busy and there's a lot of traffic, a lot of pedestrians and those types of things at the intersection, you can wait for the green light. But if it's not busy, then you have to turn right on the red light. You will not pass your driver's test. Know that. All right. Communication. Position of our vehicle on the roadway or the position of the road user. If there is a pedestrian at a crosswalk, there is a high probability that pedestrian is going to cross the roadway. Position of your vehicle. If you're sitting in the left-hand turning lane, there's a high probability that you're going to turn left. Lights and signals. Hands. Eye contact, hand gestures, and then horn. And use your horn sparingly in this day and age because it's seen as a sign of aggression. But you can have a light tap on your horn to tell other road users what you're doing, that you're moving, that you're there. So for example, somebody commented on Big Mac Sam, who just joined us, on a video where we were shooting a video in the Bronx and this car just kind of stopped at this T intersection in front of us. Well, we waited for a few seconds, 10 or 15 seconds, and then we saw that the person wasn't moving, and somebody commented on the video and said, oh, you would have failed for that, because what happened was eventually we realized we were just going to sit there forever. So I kind of creeped up on the inside. Now, the one thing that I should have done differently was I just kind of tapped the horn and let them know that I was there, but I just creeped up on the inside, turned the corner, went around the corner. Now, somebody said you failed. Well, you can't sit there forever, so eventually you have to take a course of action. And this is what I was talking about unexpected events on your driver's test. Sometimes for some people, bad drivers, everything goes perfectly on the driver's test and they pass the driver's test, and you thought, well, they shouldn't have passed. And then good drivers have something like that happen and they take the wrong course of action. They sit there and they don't do anything, don't try and pass, or they go around on the left side into the other lane of traffic. They don't signal, they don't observe correctly, and they're not successful on their driver's test. So sometimes, unfortunately, this happens, okay? Ada, I have failed back parking 3 times. Back parking, or Ada, are you talking about backing into a parking space? Is that what you're talking about? Epic, another thing for newer SUV sedans, when you use them for the road test, you have poor visibility out the rear window. Therefore, you must use a backup camera on states that allow them. Yes, but Epic, and I will say this for the purposes of a driver's test, yes, there are a lot of vehicles that you can't see much out the back window, but for the purposes of your driver's test, just fake it, okay? Check your backup camera, check your mirrors, look out the back window, but use your thing more, but don't look like you're using that more, okay? You have to do that for the purposes of your driver's test, even as you can't see out there, because if you just use the backup camera, you're gonna fail your driver's test. You will fail your backing, I promise you that. Kavanaugh, how slow should you drive out of the parking lot in the first 5 minutes? Kavanaugh, you should be no more than 5-6 miles an hour, okay? 10 kilometers an hour for the purposes of driving through the parking lot and observing and giving the right of way to other road users in the parking lot. Remember, there's lots of pedestrians because they're going to and from their cars right into the building. Sam, too bad in New Jersey they still have the test in a closed course where I took mine. Interesting. Yes, I'm not sure whether the closed course is the best, but if they're just doing slow speed maneuvers, then I do agree with that. But I mean, they still have those closed courses where they're like mini courses. They have little streets and stop signs and intersections and those types of things. You have to deal with all of that. Ada, I'm so discouraged with the road test. I failed the back parking 3 times. Ada, but just focus on that. Focus on your 3-point turn. Focus on your parallel parking. Focus on backing into a parking space. If you can get all of that down, you're going to pass your driver's test. You're going to be able to do this. Focus on the slow speed maneuvers. Focus on the fundamentals of driving, and you will be successful. I know that you can do this, okay? I know it's discouraging right now and that you're upset. You can do this. Remember the 4 most powerful words in the English language. I can do this, okay? And just get rid of that little negative Nelly in your head and just say that. You will do it, okay? You're going to be successful. Wesley, hey Rick, I sent an email about the changes in Alberta's new driving license system for the next spring. Awesome, thank you for doing that, Wesley. I appreciate that. I'll stick some of that up on my website and help people out. Ada, you are most welcome, my friend. Blackbird, sometimes you get a cool examiner. My examiner was cool. If they were in a good mood, they won't sweat you. And yes, most driving examiners are doing a good job. Yes, some of them may seem a little bit crusty, but again, here is the advice for passing your driver's test. Focus on what you're doing. And yes, sometimes you'll get some grumpy, miserable driving examiner. And if that happens, just focus on what you're doing. Just kind of, you know, grind your teeth and say, screw you. I'm going to pass my driver's test. I am going to take away your right to fail me. Okay. Don't let other people determine what happens to you. Don't get rattled by somebody sitting over there looking on a clipboard. As I said, and I will reiterate what I said before, if you make a mistake, don't get sucked into the mistake and going, oh my God, I made a mistake. I'm gonna cry, I'm just gonna go home. Don't do that. Because as I said, the driving examiner may not even have seen the mistake that you thought you made. So just keep going on your test until the driving examiner tells you to stop, because the mistake that you thought you made, the driving examiner may not even have seen it, okay? Most driving examiners are going to do a good job, okay? So I would say 75% of them are going to be great. They're going to give you lots of instruction, lots of heads up about what you need to do for the purposes of driving test. You know, 20% of them are going to be just like to the very abrupt. They're going to give you instructions, turn left at the next intersection, turn right at the next intersection, pull in here, pull in there, do this, do that. And they're not really going to engage in any conversation with you. They're not going to have a relationship with you. And then there's going to be 5% who are just going to be miserable because they had a bad day, because they got up in the morning and, you know, the cat pooped on the floor in the kitchen and they nearly stepped in it. And then they went to get the milk out of the thing and it was sour, and they put it in their coffee and they had to make their coffee again. And, you know, the kids were screaming and yelling at them. The teenagers are going out the door without their shoes on, you know, not wearing shirts and those types of things. So they just had a really crappy morning. And unfortunately, they come in, they get in the car with you and they take it out on you, right? And they're kind of miserable. That's just a reality of life. We all have bad days. We all put our pants on one leg at a time, right? And it's unfortunate. Sam says, I was glad I wasn't wearing headphones. Awesome. I'm pretty far from the mic, Sam, but I am pretty loud. I know that. I'm the guy that always got shushed in the library. You can do the driver's test. You can pass the driver's test. You can get your license, okay? Take away this person's right to fail you. That's what you need to do. You need to demonstrate to the examiner that you have due care and control of your vehicle in changing traffic conditions. The driving examiner's job is to determine if you are safe to operate the vehicle in changing traffic conditions. Nothing less, nothing more. That's all you need to do. Uncle Jay, I get my license this Friday on the 30th and I'm so nervous. I really don't want to fail. Uncle Jay, you're not. Remember, I can do this. The 4 most powerful words in the English language. I can do this. You will do it. Okay? And then the other thing that's really fun, because we used to do this, my colleagues and I, my friends actually, when I was going to graduate school, we used to do this game where, you know, what happens if we fail? What's going to happen? We're just going to go get a shopping cart. We're going to end up living on the street. We're going to be transients. You know, we're going to, you know, be smacking young children and dead-eyeing teenagers because life is just going to be horrible. We're not going to have showers for weeks on end, those types of things. Just think of the worst case scenario if you fail your driver's test. What's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is you go and do it again, okay? We only fail when we give up. And you're not going to give up. You're going to keep doing it. You're going to pass the driver's test, okay? You can do it. You're going to be successful. You can, you can, you can. Excellent. Thank you, Sam. Goyden, who has the right of way entering a private business, the car turning left or the car turning right into the business? The car turning right. So general rules for right of way. Thank you for asking this question because I didn't say this. Straight through traffic over turning, right turning traffic over left turning traffic. Those are general rules. So at two-way stop signs, just to add to that as well, two-way stop signs, so the major road over the minor road. So you come to a stop and you have to give way to the traffic on the cross street. Then it is straight through traffic over turning traffic, and it is right turning traffic over left turning traffic. So if you come to a two-way stop and there's a vehicle on the other side that's going straight and you were going to turn left, this car coming straight has the right of way over the left turning vehicle. Four-way stop signs, all-way stop signs, three-way stop signs are different than two-way stop sign intersections. You simply come up and stop. The first vehicle to arrive is the vehicle that goes. And yes, I know there's people out there that are going to say, oh, the vehicle on the right has the right of way. Trust me, people, nobody who has their driver's license comes up and tries to determine who is on the right. Nobody does that, okay? It's first person to arrive, and when it's your turn, you go, okay? So know that for the purposes of four-way stop sign intersections. Basically, at four-way stop sign intersections, you come up, you determine who stopped at the stop sign intersection, and then you proceed when the way is clear. Joe, thanks again for the great info. Packed live stream. Great to see Edna. Luck favors the prepared, darling. Have a fabulous week, and you as well, my friend. All the best, Joe. Zandy, I got my driver's license 3 weeks ago. When should I start driving longer distance? Zandy, you can start driving longer distances anytime. Just remember to take a break every couple of hours. Rush, turning left from a driveway which has a buffer or left turn lane, should we stop in the lane before merging to opposite lane? No, as long as I can't really say because I don't know the traffic situation to which you're referring, but do your observations, do your checks, and when it's safe to do so, proceed with the turn. Driver's questions, Isaac, yes, we can do that. And there are also practice driving test questions over at the Smart Drive Test website, so have a look at those as well. Awesome live stream. Wow, busy, busy, busy. Maybe this is actually the time which I need to schedule the the live stream because lots of people here, lots of questions answered. It's been really great. So thank you for participating. Thank you for your questions. My friend Mallory is here. I didn't say hi to my friend Mallory from the Maritimes, who's recovering from, heard about Hurricane Fiona. Yes, we've heard about Hurricane Fiona, and lots of people still out with power. So all the best to you. They're sending in the military, so you're going to be just fine there to rebuild and whatnot. You have any questions? We didn't get to your question here. Leave a comment down in the comment section there. Hit that like button for us as well. That helps to get the information out and help more people to pass their driver's test. Passed your driver's test in the last couple of weeks. Congratulations. Simply awesome. Be sure to go out and celebrate that success because there's only one time you pass your first driver's license. It's really, really awesome. You have a test coming up this week or next week. Good luck on that. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great night. Bye now.